I have exclusive secret Modern Warfare 3 Zombies Season 1 information to share in this video, as I just got off a developer call with Treyarch themselves. And I have so much to talk about, including Act 4 details, how the Dark Ether is going to work, hardcore mode, new updates to the zombie exfils, and other secrets and Easter eggs that are coming throughout the season. So if you're excited for it all, let me know by dropping the thumbs up and subscribing so you don't miss out on anything zombies here on YouTube. Season 1 kicks off in just 2 days on the 6th, and we know that this is going to introduce Act 4, a whole nother set of missions, which is going to start with a brand new story mission. Normally we've had a story mission at the end of each act, but this 4th act is going to start with a story mission, and every player can do this regardless of their progress in acts 1, 2, and 3. As we know, an anomaly has appeared in the map, and this is a rift which will venture us inside of the Dark Ether to do this specific story mission. Once we have completed that story mission, we will venture back into Urzikstan, and from that point on, we the players are going to have to work out how to unlock the Dark Ether rift. So in order to go back in the Dark Ether after the story mission, we'll need to collect what they're calling sigils, which are these consumable drops. And we're going to initially find these by completing contracts in the high threat zone, where there's a chance that there will be a potential drop from them. You can use these to take you and your squad into the rift to make an attempt to go in there and figure out what's going on to earn rewards. Each sigil that we collect will enable us to go in there once, and once we go in the Dark Ether, we'll be able to find an additional sigil called an Elder Sigil, which will unlock an even more difficult version of the Dark Ether rift, which sounds absolutely amazing. And Treyarch described that this will be a higher difficulty than what we're currently facing in the open world, which is much more frantic and pretty exciting gameplay wise. They also confirmed that inside the rift you have a full 30 minutes to play in there, try and complete the objectives within there, and then escaping, and you can go in there at any point in the game. So you can use the full 45 or 60 minutes of a normal zombies match and then go into the Dark Ether to extend that gameplay by another 30 minutes. Now, the fact that Dark Ether is going to be difficult as it is, but we can earn these Elder Sigils to have a harder difficulty version, sounds absolutely incredible. Now, with this being such a high difficulty, you want there to be some really good rewards to go after to take on the challenge, so that introduces the new schematics, which are in a new category of their own called classified schematics, and these are only available in the hardest version of the rift, which are these really awesome items that everyone's going to want to use. So we know all about them, but a bit more details is the dog bone, which will allow you to start a match with a friendly hellhound, which will be the equivalent of the high threat zone hellhound that you get from the doghouse, which is amazing. And we all know that this is the strongest version of the dog with the most amount of health, and will always be able to revive you unless it takes damage from the elite bosses and mercenaries. The golden armor plate is an incredible sounding consumable which coats your vest and makes it so you can regenerate plates over time. So you can still plate up normally and it will kind of accelerate that process if you're in a lot of trouble. But in general, this will allow you to automatically regenerate your plates without having to find any or even apply them. And the final schematic is the Ether Blade, which is an incredible piece of lethal equipment that never runs out once you've consumed it, and essentially directly compared it to the Hell's Retriever, where if you throw it in an area, the blade will seek out the nearest target, it will ricochet, hit another target, and then another one, and then come back to you, and then it goes on a brief cooldown before you can use it again. They didn't want to go so far as to describe it as a wonder weapon equipment, but it's definitely between those spaces of being one. Treyarch also touched a bit more upon the VR11 returning, which was crazy that Kevin described this as the Vril, because I've never actually realized that's what the VR11 was spelling out. But it will turn enemy zombies into allied zombies that will fight alongside you for about 15 seconds before they reach an untimely death, and you can shoot mercenaries and turn them into zombies that will fight for you. And there are scenarios if you're clearing mercenary camps where the mercenaries will just go out and kill the other mercenaries, so that might make clearing them out easier. So it really is like a really dependable version of brain rot, but it works on everything in the map. What's also really cool is that you can shoot other players with it, and it's going to temporarily boost their damage and grant them invisibility from all enemies. Now, this was a similar buff in the original Call of the Dead map, so to have this returning as an incredibly powerful feature is really cool. So an example was given that someone on your team could dedicate themselves as a damage dealer, and you could shoot them and they would be the ones that could do the most damage. So in future boss fights, for example, this could be really good. And Treyarch also confirmed that a few more new schematics will be available for us with Season 1 for the more high-end items that we've been looking for, such as the Tier 3 PAP crystals and legendary ether tools, which is absolutely awesome. They didn't describe where you'll go to find them. I assume we'll get them in the high threat zone as new rewards from doing contracts there, as this didn't sound like it was a Dark for Rift specific reward. Now we move on to the quality of life improvements that are coming for Season 1, because obviously one of the biggest things that they did was nerfing the zombie exfils, and they mentioned that they're not in the business of removing people's fun unless it's truly exploitative or is actually altering player behavior to the point where it's so far away from what they intended. So there has to be some corrections made. But being completely transparent, Treyarch said they had to do some things that they weren't super happy about, like nerfing the exfils. So as part of Season 1 is getting a little bit back to where they want the exfils to be. They want it to be a frantic, awesome experience, challenging in a fun way. So right off the bat, they're integrating more special zombies that will show up at exfils, making sure that enemies will continue to spawn, and they don't want us to reach an exfil and it doesn't hit that super climactic moment where you're fighting all the way to the end. They want to make sure that they bring that back. Now, if that isn't worth a thumbs up, then I don't know what is, but I'm so happy that they heard us and they're being so clear about it. But they're also, in general, going to be hitting a ton of stability issues. Of any kind of mode of this nature, it's tough until you get it out in the right environment. There's all sorts of crashes and things. The team is working around the clock to identify and fix as many crashes and stability issues as possible, and making sure that those problems that come in the first minutes of the match, whether it's a disconnect or you just fail to matchmake, you want to make sure that they actually preserve the items that you're going to be bringing in, so you're not losing any more of your acquisitions. And that is a massive thing that they want to focus on. Now, all of those quality of life is coming with Season 1, which is amazing, but there are more coming during the season, where all exfils will increase the number of enemies that will be spawned, which is amazing, getting us a bit closer to what it was like with that launch experience. But they're also going to make some changes to the final exfil, which is going to receive a significant boost to the enemy count and enemy types that are there to make it a truly intense final fight, because at the moment it feels extremely easy and very anticlimactic. And then the dev call ended with Kevin Drew simply showing us a new icon. Now obviously I couldn't record the dev call, I can't show you the icon. It looked like a devil icon with what looked like a pool of blood around it, and it looked like an icon that would be on the map itself. And they just said, I am excited to watch everyone both find this thing and figure out the rest of it. So what on earth could this be? Could this be a new boss to take down within the map? Is this some new multi-stage Easter egg that's not a quest but is a mini one? I really don't know, but it seems like they're really littering and sprinkling a ton of secrets within Season 1 outside of everything that we're officially getting, as well as what Treyarch taught us today about some of the more intricate secrets and updates coming. But the quality of life is obviously a massive sigh of relief for all of us, as the stability and server issues is probably the biggest priority that we want to see fixed in zombies, because it really is something that has affected all of us at some point and continues to do so. But really exciting stuff. And what they said on the story missions is that what they're doing with Act 4 with the launch of Season 1 is really going to set the standard for the post-launch content offerings, especially when it comes to the narrative side of things, which is really exciting. And the slide included like a full screen image of Ava Jansen with the purple dark ether eyes, which looked like a cutscene shot. So we're definitely looking like we're getting at least one more story CGI cutscene with Season 1 and Act 4 as well. How many missions that's going to be, I have no idea, but we have a lot of content coming and I'm really excited for it, and I hope you guys are too. If you want to know even more about Season 1, I dropped an exclusive video earlier of actual Season 1 gameplay of all the new maps, the new weapons, and the new Zombies operator skin coming, along with the full battle pass. If you want to see that, it's on your screen right now. Click it and I'll see you there.